What's up, everybody? How are you doing? Before I get started, I'm going to show a few things in the news while I wait for more people to come on in and join us. I've decided to cut the music a little bit short. How are y'all doing this evening? So much has been going on in the news, on social media, so much to talk about. And today's another interesting topic as usual. Something that you would think is straight out of a movie. Okay? Remember that movie Splice when the scientists created some type of hybrid human creature type of thing? Scientists, I love scientists because they bring so much to the world. They're always discovering new medicines, all types of new stuff, taking us into the future. But can you take it too far? We know in every single movie, including Splice, that it typically ends up in disaster. Artificial intelligence, they always take over and end all humans. Something always goes wrong with these highly advanced experiments. There are even people against stem cells. I'm not against stem cells, but some people are. They think, well, is something going to happen because these aren't natural human cells? What if a mutation or something disastrous happens? You, as a scientist, you have to think about all of this. And, a lot of scientists are not agreeing with what I'm going to show you. They feel it goes against ethics and is dangerous. So look, we're going to talk about we're going to talk about it. But before I do, I want to talk about some things that has been going on before, just waiting for a few more people to come in, and let's talk about a few things in the news before I talk about the main topic of discussion. Okay, Glorilla. I did a whole short video about Glorilla, how I didn't like the name. I don't know, maybe I'm not all into the current hip hop music scene because I feel like a lot of music has just gone down the drain, to be honest. I listen to some stuff here and there, but I'm not always up to date on everything. But I hear that she's a pretty new big artist on the scene. And am I pronouncing her name right? Glorilla? And I said in a video, it sounds like gorilla. I'm like, why would a black woman call herself a name that so closely sounds like gorilla when racist people are always saying gorilla to compare black people to? I don't know. Someone said, no, it's Glorilla, Glorilla, or it means something like a champ or something. I am not here to diss her. I don't have a problem with her. I just felt like her name looks like it says gorilla instead of Glorilla. And I just felt like maybe this is a disaster for her as a black woman to choose that name. But some of you said, no, that's her real name. Glorilla? Glorilla or something like that. Glow? You know. So it is true. She looks like Wendy Raquel Robinson. I think her last name is Robinson. She's a very underrated, legendary black actress on the right. And it is so true. They do look alike. That's not even the best picture of Glorilla, but she does look like Wendy Raquel, or as they say, Tasha Mack. Okay. So I wanted to show this. They were like, yeah, that could be her mother. And I totally, totally see the resemblance, and I think they're both two beautiful black women. And, you know, so yeah, some of you are upset with me in that video I made. You felt I was coming for her. Listen, I hope I hope she's not making trifling music, but I definitely support another black woman making it big in music. I just hated to see how similar her name sounded to Gorilla. It bothered me because I feel like we fight stereotypes, or I don't like how closely it sounds like that. I'm sorry. Not sorry. But apparently that is her real name. And maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong, but you know. It's the same thing with Big Lotto. She called herself Mulatto, and that was a big people didn't like that. So then she changed her stage name to Lotto, Big Lotto, because it was rubbing people the wrong way and stuff like that. And, I can see things coming. I can see her becoming a superstar and then ignorant people calling her Gorilla instead of Glorilla, and I hate to see that. I hate it. I hate it, you know. But hey, some of you said no, there's meaning to why she chose it. That's her real name. It's Glorilla or something. So, okay, some of you in the chat said okay, Mona's, you're not feeling her. I haven't heard her, I don't know what song she has that's big because like I said, um, a lot of the rappers today, they got a few good songs. Now I'm not going to say that Megan Thee Stallion don't have some okay songs, Big Lotto don't have some okay songs, Nicki Minaj, and right now a lot of them are beefing. I might talk about that because it's a shame they can't do like Little Kim and Left Eye and Queen Latifah, Angie Martinez, Missy Ladies Night when they all united, okay, and changed the game. Like I said, a lot of black women in the industry, they barely collaborate, and I hate it. They need to do it like back in the 90s. Okay? So, yeah, she does look like Tasha Mack, aka Wendy Raquel Robinson. Okay, next in the news before we get started, Cynthia Bailey. We know her from the Housewives of Atlanta. She's also a former supermodel. And her third marriage, I believe. I don't know if she was married to the guy from the Five Heartbeats, but her and her husband, Mike Hill, have confirmed their split. Says that we are grateful that we remain good friends. A lot of people called it. I don't know much about him, but I saw a video recently about all the red flags and he wanted to be on TV, all types of stuff that definitely was red flags. But to be honest, some of you are not going to like what I'm about to say, but I'm not shocked because Cynthia Bailey said that she's not made for marriage. She said something like that years ago. I remember she said it. And when you hear a person say that, usually it's like, well, is there something wrong with you? Why can't you be in a marriage? You don't like commitment or something? What's going on here? Is there a problem that you freak out with commitment? It doesn't mean that you're cheating yourself, but that was a red flag on her part to say that she was not made for marriage or something like that. Even though she did marry Peter and everybody told her don't marry him, that guy is a gold digger, and it proved to be true. She built him up, she supported his projects, he took her money, and everything always failed and she went into financial ruin after Peter, and he dogged her out. So then that didn't work, and I'm not saying that was her fault, but I definitely think she did not choose the right man. Then she gave love a shot again. Sometimes when you have a string of bad relationships, you might think I'm not made for marriage because it never works. that happens, but Cynthia is an Aquarius. Aquarius people can commit, but they're not traditional type of people all the time, the way other people are. I could do a whole video on that. They will commit to you and stay faithful if they love you and you prove that you're down for them. That you have to be a friend with an Aquarius first for the relationship to work. If you're not friends with them first, it's probably not gonna work. And you got to be worth committing to because they will creep out on your ass if you're not doing right within a heartbeat. And they're the type of people, like I said, an Aquarius man, he'll disappear for 2 or 3 weeks and then pop up and not understand why you are upset that he hasn't communicated with you in 2 weeks. Or they do things differently that's not considered traditional type of relationship stuff. And not everybody likes it. Some people can deal with it, some can't. But they have good hearts and stuff, but they don't always commit so fast. But yes, Cynthia did say something and years ago that she wasn't the marrying type or something like that, and I said, well, that's a red flag. But I don't know, Cynthia. I don't know. I don't know. It just didn't work out. This is like the 8th or 10th breakup this week or something like that. So okay, some people are shocked and some people aren't. Then we have Alex Jones. We know him. I used to watch Alex Jones when I was big into the conspiracy theory type of stuff. Well, the Sandy Hook massacre, when those little kids got killed, he was saying that it was a hoax, that the government or somebody, it was a whole fake hoax, which was crazy because it was all over the news. It was not a hoax. Well, he has been ordered to pay the families $1 billion. I don't know where the hell he gonna get that money from. I don't even think he's worth $1 billion. Seriously. I used to like Alex Jones until he finally got his chance. I think he was on CNN or some type of big show, and everybody was holding their breath like, oh my God, he's really going to represent and tell the truth. And he had a whole mental breakdown on the show. It was disastrous, and a lot of people stopped listening to him after that when they thought when they saw he wasn't in his right mind or couldn't hold a conversation. He was all over the place. And yeah, the reason I'm showing this too is because a lot of bloggers, content creators are getting into hot water. Tasha K, Cardi B is after Tasha K for the $3 million going into her bank account because she did lie on Cardi B, and Cardi B ain't having it. She's not having it. So Tasha K, okay, then another blogger, someone was after, and you got to be careful what you say. That's why it's good to say allegedly. That's the key word, allegedly, meaning I don't have full proof, so I don't know for sure. Unless you got the hardcore receipts, you got to be careful because, a lot more are getting into hot water. The Amazing M says that Alex Jones has been right about a lot of things. Mona says he was supposed to do an interview and then started shouting at the host. Yeah, I think that's the same one that I saw. I said, this is disastrous. And I was thinking, oh, he's really going to represent when he go up there. But so yeah, some say he is not paying back no $1 billion. He don't have no $1 billion. Okay, so yes. Then we have Rihanna. Rihanna will be hosting the Super Bowl. I think I definitely am gonna watch that. I don't watch the Super Bowl usually. Not usually, no. But I will watch it to see her performance. To me, Rihanna is the greatest artist of this decade. She's the greatest, artist of the decade in my these last couple of years. There are other good artists out, but Rihanna rarely puts out something that's not good. She makes music that's universal. She makes music that you can dance to. She makes music, in my opinion, that is timeless. Now, she just does. She's different. She usually has good style. She has a great marketing team. She's shown that she is versatile and she just doesn't have to do music. She's now a billionaire because she changed the game with makeup by putting all skin complexions, the darkest of foundations, um, in her makeup line, which now a lot of people want to do. But she did that. She has her Savage Fenty. Do I think she's better than Beyonce? Yes. Now, that does not mean I don't think Beyonce isn't legendary or has good music. Beyonce has some good stuff too, and Beyonce has a stronger voice. Like I said, Beyonce can really sing, but I don't think Beyonce makes music. Her music is not like Rihanna. Rihanna has, to me, better songs. Beyonce has the better voice. She has the better voice. They're both talented, but if I had to compare singing, Beyonce has the stronger voice, but Rihanna makes the better music. She makes the better music. You can dance to her music. You remember her songs. Her songs last. And now, as far as the clothing, Beyonce did do the clothing first. She had House of Darion with her mother. I thought that the clothing was cute, but it didn't get as much support. Now Rihanna doesn't do clothing; she does the lingerie, which has been very successful, and she does the makeup. And Beyonce does have Ivy Park, her sportswear, workout wear type of thing. I would love to see so many black people who are wealthy. I have a whole video I'm gonna do on a different platform. I just wish they would do a lot more. They got the power to do it. They have so much money. There's so much they can do, especially in the so-called black community. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Rihanna doing the Super Bowl. I will be watching that because every damn song that she has released has been the shit at large. At large. Okay, so yeah, this is exciting. There's only been a few Super Bowls that's really been talked about the performances. That was when Beyonce did it, J Lo and Shakira, and now Rihanna. This is gonna be off the chain. It's gonna be off the chain. Okay, Ariana says Rihanna hasn't really made new music. Yeah, that's just she just had a baby. She's taking a break and stuff, but what I like about Rihanna is that her sounds are different. She can give you a little bit of the reggae Caribbean style. She gives you the dance music, the electronic music, the alternative sound, the R&B. She doesn't have just one type of sound. Okay? Got It All says, yeah, Rihanna's music is on another level. And I hope that when she does come back, surprise us. Surprise us. And I would hope to see more bigger, look, so many black, well, not that many, but the black women who have been successful in music, they can really help other up and coming black women singers by featuring them on something. I'm serious, help putting them on. I'm sure they can be stars on their own, but it definitely helps when you have a big name collaborating with you. And I would like to see even older artists collaborate with, like, can't we get Toni Braxton and Rihanna to do a song? Janet Jackson and Rihanna to do a song? How about a collaboration with a song with Beyonce, Toni Braxton, Mariah Carey, and Rihanna? Why can't they all do a song together with a top songwriter from the 90s? Timbaland as the producer. Like, why can't we get this? Kelly Rowland's music is okay. Ciao. So, and the last thing I want to show before we get into the main topic is everybody is talking about this Jeffrey Dahmer show slash movie on Netflix. I've watched about 2 episodes. One thing I can say that's just so messed up is Niecy Nash, her character. It's like it makes no sense how the police protected this guy or just brushed it off. Or because he was gay, okay, you got a man in your bed. Okay, we're gonna believe everything you say. Y'all are into some freaky deaky stuff. Instead of being, what happened to cops being cops? Even in 2022, you have a lot of cops who don't, like, why did you sign up to be an investigator and a cop? Wasn't the point of you getting in this industry is to investigate and protect the world? Instead, you got some of them acting like I don't want to be bothered. Get out of the industry, get out of the field if you don't want to investigate and help people. Okay? And some people are making this racial, or look, he killed an Asian boy. He killed a few white boys, but a lot of them were black men. Also, if you are the type of person if you think it's funny that black men who just thought they were going over some man's house they liked deserve to get killed and eaten, get off my channel, get off my page. I might call out black men and dysfunction, but I don't think it's funny for somebody to end up getting cannibalized. That's not right. Nobody deserves that. They didn't know, you know? Nobody deserves that. And Jeffrey Dahmer was sick and ended up getting killed in prison by a black man who killed him. And some people felt, well, was it set up and stuff like that? Who knows? But Jeffrey Dahmer is not the first, and he ain't the last. Jeffrey Dahmer just got caught. I repeat, Jeffrey Dahmer just got caught. He's one of many. Cannibals been around. What y'all think be going on in the Midwest? Let me not say the Midwest. People in the Midwest gonna get mad at me. Listen, you don't think in towns where there's barely any jobs and it's the country or something like that, and people are starving in places like West Virginia or something, you don't think that when people roll through, they don't be kidnapping people, eating them? Yeah, they probably do. They probably do. Okay? Jeffrey Dahmer just got caught. And it took forever for them to do it. And it's amazing that they didn't want to listen to Niecy Nash character, you know? But anyway, Life Jennings, he's an R&B singer, and he's a black man he said drugs have killed and destroyed way more black families than Jeffrey Dahmer, but you're so disgusted by him. But you have normalized drugs and songs and videos. What the F? Does he have a point? Yes, he does. Yes, Jeffrey Dahmer was sick, okay, being a cannibal and stuff, but he's saying y'all are so outraged by this, but what about what we do, usually black men? What about what we do in the community that has destroyed families for years and killed other black people? You know, if we're going to talk about Jeffrey Dahmer and throw a fit because he happens to be white and cannibalize a number of black men, why also we can't call out what we do to destroy and kill off black people as well? You know, and no one's really talking about what Life Jennings has said. Also, Boozy, that rapper Boozy, throwing a fit saying black people, you need to boycott Jeffrey Dahmer, the movie. For what? A lot of people have movies on them who are serial killers who have killed white people and other races. So just because you're black now, nobody can't make a movie showing what he did? I don't agree with that. It's a movie. You know, if that's the case, get rid of every damn movie that has shown what a serial killer has done. You know, nothing is being shown. I mean, it's just showing what he did. You know, it's just showing what he did, and people are saying, oh, the families need to be compensated. Why come I've never heard this when any other serial killer has had a movie on them? These are actors. They're showing what happened. It's a script showing what happened. And this is not the first Jeffrey Dahmer movie that has even been made. I think this is like the 5th one. So, okay, Life Jennings said, yeah, be mad. I said it. He said, and look at the people defending drugs. Nobody who ever died from drugs in life wanted to. Just like nobody that went with that man wanted to die. Everybody who did drugs and died or went with him was looking for a good time, and it went and left. But we defend drugs. This is very weird. Okay, so what is y'all opinions on that? Do you think that Life Jennings is right for saying this? Stop complaining about the movie and Jeffrey Dahmer when we've destroyed more black families by dealing drugs to black people, typically black men. So, do you agree? Both is a hot mess. A hot mess. A hot mess. Also, I'm not boycotting this movie. Boozy is a big old hypocrite. I might talk about him in the future. That guy he tries to present himself as woke and enlightened, but that guy is trifling. He's trifling too. Some of the stuff he says is just so hypocritical and trifling. He's just embarrassed and mad to see that yes, gay black men like white men was going over a white man's house because they were attracted to a white man, and he ended up eating them after he killed them. You know, you want to boycott this, you don't boycott what about movies of black men killing up black men like Boys in the Hood and stuff? You didn't protest that. You know, they're making it racial and all this other stuff. So I think I think that is ridiculous. It's a shame what happened to him though, especially the way those police did not come to defend a 14-year-old boy. That Asian boy, he was only 14. And from what I saw, the police officers believed that that was his boyfriend, as if they couldn't tell that was a child, and then let him go back in the house. And he ended up drilling a hole, I think, in that little boy's head and all types of stuff. It's horrible, absolutely horrible. So I think he cooked them. I didn't watch the whole thing. I think he cooked them and tried to give that woman playing Niecy Nash character. I think he tried to give her a sandwich that he had made out of one of them. So he said he liked to eat the hearts and all this other stuff. He felt like they were a part of him. Very, very sick. And if you look at Jeffrey Dahmer, let's zoom in on his face real quick. If you look at him, you wouldn't think that this guy is a cannibal. You wouldn't. You might think this is a pretty decent looking white guy. At least back then, you know. You don't think that he's about to come and get you and maybe y'all do it together. Then he kills you, then eats you. Most people would look at him and think, okay, he's pretty decent looking. He's kind of cute. This guy is not, he's young. He's not eating people. Nobody would think that looking at him. But it just shows you, you never know people. You never know people. And like I said, he's one of many. He just got caught. He just got caught. You would be shocked how many people is eating people. All these damn missing people. Some of them getting eaten. Horrible. So, just saying, you said he looks like it. He don't look like a cannibal to me. He does not look like, I would not think that guy eats people. He looks like he could be a truck driver or something. Going into the bar, dressed in his jeans, maybe some cowboy boots, looking kind of cute. They're like, oh, he's kind of cute. He talks to you. Go over his house, and next thing you know what's next. Horrible. Okay. Just saying, why are you saying, oh my God? I would love to know what you are shocked about hearing. Take your feelings out. That is what a lot of people would think. Mona says, what does a cannibal look like? Well, people would think a cannibal would look kind of deranged. You know, they might think they look sickly and deranged. Mona says he looks like a software engineer. Jesus. I don't know. When I look at him, I think, okay, he looks like he could be a truck driver to me. You know, you said he's not cute to me. He looks like a graphic designer. Lord. Okay, so now let's get into the main topic of discussion. Okay, give me a second. The scientists have said that they can create children without a man. Oh yes, not that they can, they have. But the public, it has not been accepted. Hasn't been accepted by the science community, who basically told them to stop, even though they have done it with evidence, and that this goes against ethics. You know, anything that means women will dominate and you will have control over who gets to be born will make men especially go into a panic. So I'm going to show you what they said. Okay? All right. Let's read this. Fertility specialists have found a way. Actually, hold on, y'all. Sorry. Give me a second. Hold on. Let's get this picture over here. Okay. Fertility specialists have found a way for women to have babies without men. It involves a cocktail of chemicals acting as artificial sperm to trick a human egg into forming an embryo. The stunning discovery has alarmed medical ethics campaigners, who described it as turning nature on its head. Okay? Researchers say that the groundbreaking technology could be used to help women whose husbands are infertile, but who don't want to use a sperm donor. So instead of men who cannot get their wives pregnant, instead of getting another man's sperm, they have the artificial. Any babies born from the process would be female and genetically identical to their mother. Okay, so any babies created from this will come out only girls and identical to the mother. Taken to its extreme, it could lead to the science fiction nightmare of a female dominated society where men have little or no role. Of course, this scares them. I have said this before this even came out. What would men do if women dominated and men are only given, we only use their sperm to make the babies, keep them in a lab somewhere halfway frozen, and then when we need your sperm, we come get it. I wouldn't want to live in a world with only women, you know. I want a man. I want my man to hold me. I want my man to make love to me. I want to be with my man, okay? But the way society is headed with all these men killing us up and mistreating us, yeah, there are some women who do want it. We don't. Who there are plenty of women who think, get rid of them, make it a bunch of women, you know. And according to these scientists, they are able to do it. And the scientist says, do not do this. That it would be a female dominated society where men have little or no role. The news also creates a legal minefield for UK authorities, which govern fertility treatments, because British laws do not cover the creation of an embryo without sperm. Okay, it says that this discovery was made. This discovery was made by researchers from the Institute of Reproductive Medicine and Genetics in Los Angeles. They were investigating new ways of genetically modifying embryos to grow into brain nerve cells in order to give transplants to patients with Parkinson's disease. Their experiments with mice triggered a form of asexual reproduction called Parthenogenesis. Oh my God. Have we not heard of parthenogenesis before? They claim that it's a hypothesis. They said that women at one point were only making women didn't need men to make babies at one point. That's the hypothesis. That's what they say. I've never witnessed nothing like this in my life. The only woman I've heard in history who gave birth without the sperm of her man was the Virgin Mary. Other than that, there is no documentation on record of any human woman making a baby without the sperm of a man. So until you can prove this to me, I don't believe it. You're going to have to prove this to me. But according to these scientists, they're saying that their experiments with the mice triggered a form of asexual reproduction, so they were able to do it with called parthenogenesis, which until now has happened only in creatures such as insects and frogs. In a normal human reproduction, an egg carrying 23 pairs of chromosomes, the building blocks of life, is fertilized by sperm. That's what they say. I've seen several content creators say men need to stop calling their sperm a seed because their sperm is just a fertilizer. And the egg doesn't, a lot of women are saying that. But sperm, they also say, also carries 23 chromosomes. To me, a man needs a woman and a woman needs a man. A human being has 23 chromosomes from the woman and 23 from the man. That is the way that it is. And I don't have a problem with that. Okay, it says this crucial binding, creating 46 pairs of chromosomes, opens the way for cell division, the beginning of human life. But researchers Dr. Jerry Hall and Dr. Yang Lingfeng managed to make eggs duplicate on their own chromosomes to create the number needed, oh my God, to start cell division. The doctors were able to make they were able to make the egg start to divide without the sperm, meaning they don't need sperm. That's what they did. Several embryos were transferred to the mouse foster mothers where they developed successfully before they destroyed them after 13 days. Once they realized, oh my God, we can make babies without sperm, but we can't let it out to the public or do it, so they destroyed it 13 days after doing it. You know, people would throw a fit, religious people would throw a fit. They would say they're playing God. Who do they think they are? What can come from this in the future? I already heard about the scientists are trying to make it so that you can choose the gender that you want to give birth to. And remember that movie called Gattaca? We talked about it, where they did do that in the future. They did it in the future. Okay. All right, let's read more. Though the process has yet to be tested on human eggs, okay. But you know, usually when they come out with medicines, they test them on the mice first. I guess we're similar in some way, and then they bring it to us. It says that though the process has yet to be tested on human eggs, studies have already shown that they behave similar to those of mice. The findings are due to be unveiled today at the annual meeting of the respected American Society of Reproductive Medicine in Florida. They have been hailed as a new way of producing different kinds of cells for medical use. Dr. Michael Souls, president of the ASRM, said, hold on, if this works in human eggs, there could be tremendous opportunities for clinical applications. I think everyone is going to find this work to be very exciting. But Dr. Jacqueline Lang, an expert in medical ethics from London, said, this is alarming. Just because scientists can do something, it doesn't mean they should. This process does not respect human life, and seeking either to procreate without men or use human eggs to turn them into some other part of the body for transplants. Hmm. I don't know how I feel about this. I would love to see what kind of discoveries they can make that can help humanity from these type of things. People with i- fertility problems, all types of stuff. And I feel like if they can do this, why can't they discover the cure to AIDS? I'm still trying to figure this out. They talking about PrEP and you can become undetectable. You just take one pill and people living for 50 years. If you can do that, why can't y'all find the cure for this damn thing? Not to go too off subject. If they can do all of this, why somebody told me they got the cure for AIDS. The scientists already got the cure. They only give it to super rich people. I don't know if I believe that, but I believe they got the cure. But the industry needs people to die for can't have too many humans on earth, and the insurance industry, the medical industry, they need sick people to die. They need them to get these medicines to keep the industry going. But yeah, I personally believe the scientists got the cure for AIDS. Ain't no way you can make PrEP and do all this. And nah, well, I'm gonna say I believe it 80%. I believe it 80% that they got the cure for AIDS and they haven't released it to the public. 20% of me says no, they don't have the cure, but they're coming close to it. But man, so the Dr. Lang, she feels that this is alarming, that just because you can make babies without the man don't mean you should do it. Well, basically, is this really about science? We know it's not about religion because most scientists are not even religious people. Most scientists are atheists, so it can't be about religion. Um, is this about protecting men? Men who seem to hate women. Not all of them, but a number of them worldwide who don't even want women besides the use of sex with women. So it's this giant fear of a woman takeover, basically. That's all it boils down to. It's about the fear of women taking over. But I do understand the fear when you are experimenting with something new. What if something mutates? Let me see what Alice G is saying. Alice G, what came first, the chicken or the egg? If the chicken came first, it would have to be female in order to birth an egg. If the egg came first, the female principle is still there. Female is default. Okay? Now, for me, I don't mind us having a man to make us pregnant. I'm not a lesbian. I like a man. I want a man. I like a man. A good man. I want a good man. I want to make love to my man. I want him to impregnate me, knock me up, impregnate me, damn it. But it did say that men who are infertile, this could be their answer. Instead of having your woman get pregnant by some other man, they got the artificial thing to make her end up pregnant. But it did say that they would be identical to the mother. They would only be girls. Because again, you are 23 chromosomes from your mother and 23 chromosomes from your father. So if you don't have sperm, all the chromosomes basically are kind of like women or something. You know, they haven't done this on humans yet and might not, but they're going to do it in secret to see how this goes. It could be a complete disaster. Something crazy might happen. Okay? Something crazy could happen. Okay. They said that doing this, it doesn't respect reproduction. In ordinary relationships between men and women and the natural functions we have to protect human beings from arbitrary creation. What are we expecting that any children born of this process will feel? I think so, Monas, they will look like the mother. What are we expecting that any children born from this process will feel? If we go down this avenue, what else will be permissible? Paul Tooley of the Society for Protection of Unborn Children said, Parthenogenesis is akin to cloning in a sense. It is the way lower orders of animals such as frogs and insects are able to reproduce. It is entirely unknown for this to happen in humans. Again, there are people who are saying that, yeah, women, we used to have parthenogenesis. It hasn't been proven. And this scientist says that it is unknown for this to happen in humans. And this is a very disturbing discovery. Apart from the ethical concerns of what's happening to these embryos without their consent, it could mean that theoretically it would be possible to eradicate men. See, of course, they're scared of that. You know, if you men keep killing us worldwide and mistreating us, yeah, we might want to get rid of y'all asses. You keep it up. But then again, God might step in and do something to get y'all. So the scientists say yes, it would be possible to eradicate men, so hell no. He added, what we are seeing here is the technological imperative. They are doing it hold on. They are doing it just because they can. Is society going to curb this? Or are we going to see even more outlandish discoveries? My fear is that, as with cloning, there will be horrific developmental abnormalities. I said it, an accelerated aging of these embryos. Okay, because something could go wrong, and he said they might start aging real quick. One dreads to think what they may suffer in the name of science. The Human Fertilization and Embryology Authority, which governs IVF research in Britain, said a new law on parthenogenic embryos may be needed. A spokesman said, man, just because y'all make up laws don't mean that scientists are not going to go underground. They already experiment on animals. Where do y'all think all this medicine and cures for stuff come from? You have to test it on people before you can bring it to the public. You got to test it on people. And that's a scary thing to think about, because a lot of people are not voluntarily signing up to be experimented on. In order to bring stuff to the public to change healthcare and everything, the only way that happens is by experimenting on humans. Yeah, they say they doing it on mouse and mice and stuff. You know they doing it on humans. And they will do it. They can easily have the government give them a grant, some private type of thing, and go do their experiments privately. You know? So, okay, it says the view would probably be that no research could be carried out without permission, and it certainly would not be licensed for clinical use unless it was proven safe and there were no ethical concerns. Alice G says women would build everything and with unity. It might take us longer, but it would get done. I think that something like this would happen in a global emergency. A global emergency. Would something like this maybe have to go down to save humanity? What if I'm gonna pull up something. I'm gonna pull up something. I've talked about it before. So that is actually it for the article. Okay, I'm gonna read what y'all are saying in the chat. You know, there's a lot of reasons something like this could things could go wrong again. You know, I think the deep rooted issue of why they don't want it is because it would give women more power. because it would be a female dominated society, as they said. And a lot of men globally already don't want women to have any type of rights or power. It would make them inferior to women because they would be outnumbered by women. Also, women wouldn't have to lay on their backs and get a man to make them pregnant. And they would do feel, well, what would be the use of men? And I agree with that. Men are still needed. I mean, most heterosexual women still want a man. They want to be in love. They want their man to make love to them and make them pregnant. It's the natural way. But so that's what they're saying. Maybe that's just going too far. But they're already experimenting with artificial intelligence. So if that's a problem, if parthenogenesis is a problem, explain to me why y'all are pushing artificial intelligence. Because to me, artificial intelligence is a damn problem. Have you not seen every movie what ends up happening with artificial intelligence? Did you not see Terminator? Okay. Again, there could be some type of mutation. Could be a mutation, something disastrous could happen. Maybe a human man would have SCX with the parthenogenesis child, and then something might happen. You got to be careful when you start experimenting. But I think they still will do it just so they can see what happens. Like again, I don't believe for a second scientists are not doing stuff underground. And speaking of parthenogenesis and stuff, there was a video that I will also be uploading separately. Listen to what this doctor said, y'all. Hold on.
The earliest species on this planet were asexual. They reproduced by copying themselves. So here's my take on it. Women came first. Women created men just to carry genes, which is why the egg is so big. It has lots of other DNA in it besides the chromosomes. And the sperm is so small. It has nothing but the chromosomes. If you remember the size of the sperm to the egg, it's like the moon to the sun. Two eggs, through a process called atomoxis, which is an electrical process, can be fused together and actually make a species in lower organisms. Two sperm can't even go out for a beer together. So what's the deal? Women created men to carry extra genes for those times when they wanted to survive. Men created fancy colors, feathers, dances, whatever they could do to get women's attention, because the whole goal is to get your genes into another body. So the males created all of this fancy preening, and then they created aggression. And then they would fight among themselves so that the biggest and the strongest would get the females. And therein lies the problem. Because once they obtained the females, the men then used that aggression to control them, to make decisions for them, even though the women were the smarter of the two. And so the world is screwed up. And that's my take on it. Women, believe it or not, at every age have better executive functioning, slightly better intellect, better problem solving, lower incidence of impulsive behavior, because they evolved to stick around, take care of the children, forage for food, while the men wandered around hoping to kill something. So should women run the world? Yes. But men are not going to get out of the way and let them do it.
Interesting. This video had it had a lot of people talking. A lot of people who believe in parthenogenesis were like, yeah, he's saying what we already knew, that we created men. And I know a lot of women are going to be happy hearing that, but to me it's a good theory what he says, but it can't be completely proven. I've never seen again a woman making a baby without the man's sperm, you know? But what he said does make sense too, doesn't it? I mean, what can you say to hearing that? What can you say to hearing something like that? So definitely something to think about. Definitely. Yeah, Kat says we're more loving. Yeah, we're called Mother Earth. Mother Earth. We're the nurturers. We breastfeed. Every baby comes to mama, wants to hold mama. The men want to come to us, lay their head on our breasts, nibble, all that other stuff, be caressed and nurtured by us. You know, Men have fought wars over us, controlling our vagina, going crazy if another man deer comes near the vagina, territorial, all types of stuff. And women make good decisions. We're not always. People think that because we're women, we would kill someone faster because they swear to God we're so much more emotional. Yeah, but we're thinkers too. We are thinkers too. We just don't go and just kill up people for no reason and over petty stuff, you know. So these two movies right here, I've talked about it before. Me and another supporter slash subscriber, we discussed these movies. It's amazing. It's sort of is similar to this topic. The first movie is Gattaca. Gattaca, I'm telling you, they just don't make movies the way they used to. They don't. Gattaca came out a few years ago with Uma Thurman, Ethan Hawke, and basically in the future, scientists were able to tell you what your child would have, any type of diseases. They were able to make perfect children, at least what they thought were perfect. And if they already knew that, okay, you have some type of disability or something wrong with you, you would not be allowed to excel in human society. You were like thrown to the wayside. And his brother was considered perfect, but his brother ended up drowning and he survived. So basically, he basically has to pretend that there's nothing wrong with him in order to get into a science program. And he tricks the government and basically proves your theory about perfection is complete bullshit. But in the future, they're able to um in the future they're basically controlling what kind of kids you have. And I already saw years ago scientists said, yeah, they want to make it so that you can decide what kind of genes and features your child can have, and you can decide if you're going to have a boy or a girl. And people said that's unethical. But honestly, a lot of people would go down. A lot of people would support it. A lot of women would think, well, I don't want to have a boy or I don't want to have a girl, and then they would decide that. A lot of them would. And I think a lot of people are afraid because a lot of women probably would choose to have girls more than boys. Opposite in other countries where they killed off all the girls for boys. Okay, Children of Men. Children of Men is one of the most underrated, ahead of its time films that's ever been released. Nobody talks about it that much. I think only in a few more years will people truly see that this is a masterpiece. Basically, in the future, men become infertile. Something happened. Women can't have kids no more. And probably the men were infertile. Well, at least I don't know, but infertility happened. And of course, humanity goes into a disaster. People don't go to work no more. It's a disaster. Panic, wars, everything. The value, it shows the value of the woman. Without us, y'all asses are screwed. Okay? So stop abusing us and beating on us and trying to control us and treat us like slaves and stuff. You wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the woman. And I understand we need the sperm too. But basically, women are not getting pregnant. Everybody is losing their minds. Okay, the world is in chaos, and the youngest guy on the planet ends up dying. People start crying and going crazy. Anyway, there is something called a human project or something. They hear about it, but there's no evidence of it. And this guy you see up here on Children of Men, a group of people put him on to something top secret. There is a pregnant woman. the only pregnant woman in the world at that time, and she's a black African woman. She is pregnant, and no one can believe it. They have to hide her. Your life depends on it because people are crazy when stuff like this is happening. So he's trying to get her into the Human Life Project that he heard about because they're gonna study you, find out how did you get pregnant. So the world is dying, and a black woman is the only pregnant woman, at least that they know of, in secret on Earth, a black woman. So I thought it was interesting that they made sure they made her a black African woman as the one with the last baby that they know of on Earth. So it's such a good movie. It's very scary. It's scary too because something like this could possibly happen. I think the movie should have got an Oscar. A few people know about the movie, but it's very, very, very underrated. And it ties into a little bit of this a world where men are infertile or women, and what science will do, and all types of stuff. So, um, yeah. So, listen, y'all, I hope that you have enjoyed this live. I hope you enjoyed this live. It gave us something to think about. Again, scientists, in my opinion, are amazing. I know there's a clash between science and religion, but scientists help the world. They make discoveries. They think, well, a lot of us think of all types of stuff, not just scientists, but they have the tools to actually really go forth and test these things out. Um, I don't know what to say about them making babies without the men. I mean, yeah, most women still want a man to make them pregnant and have a relationship. But if there was a disaster like that movie Children of Men, scientists might have to step in if God ain't gonna step in, and help humanity. Maybe there are things they can discover from this. Thank you, Monas. Again, I want to see scientists discover a lot more stuff. Hopefully the cure for cancer, the cure for AIDS, the cure for hair loss, the cure for every damn thing you can think of, okay? Restoring things on the earth, helping people. IVF is an amazing discovery. Now, a lot of women who couldn't get pregnant can get pregnant. It's expensive, it takes a lot of work, but scientists have definitely helped. Definitely helped. And I understand again the ethical part and why they are scared for something like that and don't agree with it. But I think the root the root of being afraid, people might disagree, but it's the fear of domination of women, the fear of choice, the fear of control. Because they said it in the article that men wouldn't be needed. And that's the deepest fear of something like this happening. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. So listen, I am sure that y'all are going to light this comment section up who see this and give your opinion if you think that this is wrong, or do you think this is right? Do you think it's innovative? Do you think this is the future? Would you want to be in a world where there are more women than men? I personally wouldn't, but I believe, I could be wrong. I believe the more that men mistreat women on the planet like they already do around the globe, women are going to get tired of men and they're going to wish for them to be gone. A lot of them think this already. They call them feminists. But that's bullcrap. I'm tired of the attack on feminism. Feminism is not about hating men. I don't know, maybe because there are a lot of lesbians who are feminists too, but being a feminist is about protecting the rights of women to be protected on jobs and healthcare. It's not meant to be a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with saying, I don't want little girls who are 9 years old married off to grown men. I don't want to be paid $15 while you get paid $30 and I went to school for the exact same thing and worked my butt off. But that's a crime, you know? Okay, it seems like y'all are arguing in the chat. Mona's versus Ali G. What is going on here? Alice G says biologically or socially, how much of it is socialization? Women can build any and everything. It's not testosterone that helps you build, it's intelligence. Ali G, it's true that we as women are very capable. We're very smart. But when it comes to physically building, the we need men to build. Literally, that's what they do. We can't lift heavy ass shit like them. I can't even open some cans without a man. Open up certain jars. A man's strength is needed to physically build. I know that we have machinery now that was created by men to help bulldozers and all types of stuff. Um, Women definitely we can lead with our intelligence, point blank. Period. A lot of men are scared of us taking over and using our intelligence. I, I really believe that. I believe that some men they fear us getting in power because they know they have mistreated us and supported us getting mistreated by men awing us and stuff that they know if we took power that we would probably get them back for what they've done or at least serve justice to them, and that's a fear. But as far as building, yeah, we are intelligent. There are a number of women who are much smarter than men. But when it comes to actually being able to build stuff, skyscrapers, trains, railroads and stuff, lifting heavy things, yeah, a man is needed for that. That's just a fact, in my opinion. Young Peasy, oh, you're laughing if women took power. Yeah, if we did take power, men like you would be scared. Y'all would be scared because you know that we are not going to tolerate certain shit from y'all no more that you've been getting away with on the planet for too damn long. Uh, Abusing us, forcing us to do stuff we don't want to do, R-ing us. That would be done and over with. At least if I had power. So y'all will be getting the damn death penalty the same week for murdering, R-ing us and stuff like that. But you know, women are definitely needed. We are definitely smart. We have plenty of sense, a number of us, and we can help the future become greater than what it is. You have some men that wouldn't even want to give us the credit just because we're women. Like, look at that girl that just got killed for beating that guy in basketball last week. Thank you, Rebecca, for the donation. He was so insecure and so upset that she beat him in a basketball game that he went and got the gun and killed her. And there are men like that in certain careers who don't want to be outdone by a woman. If a woman was to make the discovery for certain diseases, they might get mad about that, jealous men. Not all, though, but some of them. But I definitely believe that both men and women are needed on the planet. But there are certain behaviors and beliefs amongst men and a few women that need to change for society to get better. And, I'm definitely not in denial again that men are the ones building infrastructure, that they're the ones who can lift heavy objects, you know, that they're supposed to be the protectors and stuff like that. So, oh yes, Sinvera, I'm not playing. If it were up to me again, men who murder and are women and men, But I'm talking about RN women. I would give them about a week to a month before the execution. I don't want innocent people to get executed. I just want to make sure we got the right person. So we'll do a thorough investigation, do a R kit, DNA samples, everything. So we are 100% sure that this is the R, the guy who ordered, the her, the child, the man, and goodbye, that week or that month, baby. I ain't got time to keep you on death row for nothing, you know. And I definitely don't believe that people that murder people out of cold blood should be allowed to be living. Why they got to die, but you get to live? That ain't fair. Again, I understand in cases of self-defense or accidental death, but I'm talking about a cold-blooded killer. Baby, goodbye, you got to go. I ain't playing with you. And a lot of men know that some of us women would do it. They know it. And that's why they're scared to death of us getting in power. So, all right, y'all. So, thank you again. Y'all, thank you who support the channel. Everybody supports the channel. Thank you, Rebecca, for the donation, y'all. This is my birthday week. Okay, your girl got some things she wants to do. If you want to support the channel or send your girl a little birthday treat on the Cash App, there it goes, baby. Okay? So, listen. Thank you. Thank you, Paola. Thank you. Thank you, y'all. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Check out my videos, y'all. Peace out. Bye, everyone. Actually, before I say my official goodbye to you all, hold on for a second. Yes, I'm interrupting this video with my little commercial. I have a little announcement. That's that I am doing some life coaching. Many of you love the advice that I give, and I cannot wait to speak to some of you about any problems you're going through, men or women, any secrets that you have that you just can't tell anybody about. You can speak to me for 30 minutes for $30. And the way that you can do this is Cash at me. My Cash App is in the description box, and you can leave me your phone number with your name if you have room in the subject line. I will call you between the hours of 6 p.m. through 8 p.m. the same day or the same week. I promise to speak to you, and we can talk about anything again. Again, secrets, anything that's bothering you. I give pretty good advice, and one thing I'm going to tell you is that I'm going to keep it very real with you. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything for you. I'm going to tell you the truth. We're going to have a real conversation. 30 minutes, okay? So that's all I wanted to say. I look forward to the people that would love to speak to me for 30 minutes one-on-one. So let's get back to the video. Bye. All right now. So yes. Thank you, Cynthia, for the donation. Yes, Michael Ray, a Libra gotta represent, baby. Gotta represent. Sweet, but Lady Justice, boo. That's how we do, you know? So, y'all, thank you again. Y'all have a good night. Bye.